If you're on the React channel, hi, welcome. You're probably very confused. If so, might be a good thing. Might be, maybe. Confusion is generally healthy, right? I mean, as far as change, confusion at change. I'm going way off fucking base here. In any event, we have what Kiwi has recommended in terms of the history of Japan. And I want to see how much of this I actually remember and how much, like, I don't know. I'm very curious, very interested in this, and I hope you are as well. I'm ready for this.
Japan is an island by the sea filled with volcanoes and it's
Yes, accurate.
In the year -1 billion, Japan might not have been here.
Yeah?
In the year -40,000, it was here, and you could walk to it, and some people walk to it.
Yeah.
Then it got warmer, some icebergs melted, it became an island, and now there's lots of trees.
Yeah.
Because it's warmer. So now there's people.
I mean, if we're talking creation mythos, I mean, like, what was it? Izanagi and Izanami had the spear, and they dipped it in the waters, and they became the islands of Japan. If we're talking creation mythos from Shintoism, I believe, is the word. And please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not researched enough in the subject. Confusion and me are just synonymous. Let's be honest. Confusion and me and chaos and Kip are all synonymous.
On the island, they're basically sort of hanging out in between the mountains, eating nuts off trees, and using the latest technology. Like
Right,
stones
yeah.
and bowls. Ding dong, it's the outside world,
Oh,
and
no.
they have technology from the future, like really good metal and crazy rice farms.
Yeah.
Now you can make a lot of rice really, really quickly. That means
I
if you
try
own a
not to be a
farm,
weeb.
you
I
own
try
a
my
lot of
best.
food, which is something everybody needs to survive. So that makes you king.
Yeah.
Rice farming and rice kingdoms spread across the land, all the way to here. The most important kingdoms were here, 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 here.
Oh my god, I actually really want I've been craving rice today. I don't know what it is. Like, can you physically crave rice? I mean, maybe Utaka can shed light on this, because I know him and I have had conversations about rice and rice brands. Because Utaka's knowledgeable on that shit. I'm not. I'm a fucking dingus. I need to get... I actually got rid of the fucking, like, red minute rice thing for actual, like, brand rice. And it's one of the best decisions I've ever fucking made. But, like, do you just crave rice ever? Like, you just want to, like make an entire fucking, like, batch of rice in a rice cooker and just eat it? Like, oh my god. Oh, I love jambalaya. It's so expensive, though.
Here, here, and here.
Broccoli,
But this
cheese,
one was
rice.
the most
That sounds
important,
great, though.
Ruled by a heavenly superperson, or emperor for short.
Yeah.
Knock, knock, get the door. It's religion. The new prince wants everyone
Knock, knock, get the door. It's religion. Holy fuck if that's not a source of problems. Oh my god. History, media, fantasy, you name it. Oh my god. Why do you think rice balls exist? You know what? Fair and accurate. I'm gonna go make rice after the stream. That's what I fucking want. Like, my 1 a.m. snack is gonna be fucking rice. I'm just gonna eat it out of the fucking rice cooker because I'm a fucking heathen like that. I have to figure out sticky rice still.
to try this hot new religion from Biekt. Please try this religion, he
Yeah,
said.
okay.
No, said everybody.
No.
Try it, he said. No, said everybody
efficient.
again.
Fair
quietly
enough.
this time. And so the religion was put into place, and all the rules that came with it. Then the government was taken over by another
Just
clique,
Ireland.
and they made some reforms, like making the government govern more, and making the government more like China's government, which is a government that governs more. Hi, China,
Fair.
he said. Hi, dipshit, said China. Can you call us something else other than dipshit, said Japan.
No.
Like what, said China. How about Sunrise Land, said Japan.
I mean, yeah, like the kana, like, I don't know if, because I'm pretty sure
Japan.
everyone in
Like
this,
what, said
everyone
China.
here will
How
know
about
this, right?
sunrise?
Like, is my model really fucking covering it? Like, sorry, give me a second. Like, Nihon literally is sun and fucking book, actually. Because that's tech tree, but then the line, it's fucking, it makes sense, okay? I don't remember the exact way that got that way, but I mean, it's accurate. Calories fries.
Said Japan. And they stole China's alphabet.
I don't
and wrote a
remember
book
what rice I
about
have.
themselves. And then they made lots of poetry and art and another book about themselves. Then they stopped moving the capital.
I don't think
over
I've
time
read
the emperor
Nihon
died and
Shoki,
kept it in one
actually.
place for a while, right here. And they conquered the north finally. Get that squared away.
Yeah.
A rich hipster named Kukai is bored with modern Buddhism, visits China, and learns a better version, which is more spiritual.
Fair enough.
Comes back, reinvents the alphabet, and causes art and literature to be great for a long
that's
time.
exactly it.
And the royal palace turned into
Like,
such
there's just a
dream
lot of
world art that they
variations.
really-
There's a lot of like Buddhism, and then Zen Buddhism comes about. There's a lot of fucking offshoots. Some kind of short grandiosement. I don't think I have the box anymore. I know there's a brand I specifically want to buy next time. I'll catch a picture of that.
Didn't give a shit about running the country.
No.
So if you live outside the palace, how are you supposed to protect your shit from criminals? Hire a samurai.
Yeah.
Everyone started hiring samurai.
The fucking
Most important
Yumi
people hired
bows are
samurai. Poor people who
fucking
could not afford to hire
massive.
samurai did not hire samurai. The samurai
Yeah.
became organized and powerful, more powerful than the government. So
Yeah.
they made their own military government.
There's the shogunate.
They let the emperor still be emperor, but the shogun is actually
Yeah.
in control. Breaking news, the Mongols have invaded China.
We've invaded.
Oh my god, no, not the Mongols! Son of a bitch. Oh my god! Oh my god. It's so great, because every time the Mongols show up, because, once again, history professor friend, right? They love going on about how, like, yeah, there's certain things you can go back to, like, ancient Sumeria and going forward, right? And you can, like, see patterns in how civilizations develop. Unless you're the Mongols. Because they break every single one of those rules. I'd have to have them send me a video on that. I'm very interested in that. The Mongols just break all of those conventions. They're kind of like the Numenorians in that aspect. Like, and then the Numenorians arrived. What about, we're going to study ancient religion or ancient history. Or we're going to study sociology and how cultures develop and how societies develop. What about the Mongols? The Mongols showed up. They exist. They break every convention. Like the absolute legends. And then the Mongols arrive. That's the meme.
China.
Said the Mongols.
Please respect us, or else we might invade you as well.
Okay, said Japan. So the Mongols came over, ready for war, and died in a tornado. But they
Oh
tried
my
again
God.
and had a nice time fighting with the Japanese, but then died in a tornado.
Oh my god.
Then the emperor overthrows the shogunate. Then the shogunate overthrows him back and moves to Kyoto and makes a new shogunate. And the emperor can still dress like an emperor if he wants. That's fine.
So actually, there was a VTuber I was watching. I don't remember what their name was, unfortunately. I can't fucking remember. But they were watching live sumo wrestling, and they actually went into the history of like the I don't remember what it's called, the ginkgo leaf hairstyle, where how the hairstyle some of the higher ranking sumos are like a ginkgo leaf. Please look into this history, as I'm paraphrasing what I hardly remember, but it's definitely fascinating though. And like the ginkgo leaves were like a tradition, and then they were outlawed or they were discouraged, and then they did this as a sign of remembrance for the old traditions. Like, it was really fucking fascinating, actually. Emerald, right? Then they died in the tornado.
Like painting with less colors, collaborative poetry, plays, monkey fun, tea parties, gardening,
Monkey
architecture,
fun,
flowers. It's time for who's going to be the next shogun. Usually it's the shogun's kid, but the shogun doesn't have a kid. So he tries to get his brother to quit being a monk and be the next shogun.
Yeah.
He says okay, but then the shogun has a kid. So now who's it going to be? Vote now on your phones. And everyone voted so hard that the palace caught on fire and burned down.
Wait, is this... There's a specific fire in... that wiped away a lot of historical text. So Musashi Miyamoto, or Miyamoto Musashi, it depends on which way you want to say his name. Which, moving on, author of what's the Japanese wording of it? It's the Five Rings, right? The philosophical work. Gorin no Sho. That was it. That was the one. There was a work where his actual original copy of that was caught in a imperial palace fire and was subsequently destroyed, along with a bunch of other documents. I actually have a copy of Gorin no Sho, and I actually still need to fucking finish reading it because I've gotten through 3 of them, and it's really fucking insightful of how like Japan was back in that time period, and it's just really fascinating to me to like kind of see like a window into the past. Like Musashi talks about, you know, the sky in some portion of it, and it's like you look up and it's like that's the same fucking sky you're looking. I know it's like really like weird and like, oh yeah, how deeply philosophical, kept the sky as the sky. Really, really fucking just neat. I need to actually watch more on the library, Fire in the Library of Alexandria. I need to see more on that one. I don't know enough about it.
Shogun actually didn't care. He was off somewhere doing poetry. And the whole country broke into pieces. Everyone is fighting with each other for local power, and it's anybody's game.
Warring States era.
Europe. No, they're not here to take over. They just want to sell some shit.
Yes.
Like clocks and guns and so that's cool, but everyone's still fighting each other for control. Now with guns. And wouldn't it be nice to...
I think part of the reason why I liked L5R is that it did emulate Japanese history to an extent. If you know L5R, I am Scorpion, I can swim. That's all I'm gonna say on the matter. Like, I say certain things like L5R-isms, and I only played from like Emperor Edition forward in the TCG until it died in Ivory. But like, I just... Some of these are just dog whistles that if you fucking like say it, someone who's like looks at you like, I get what you're saying. Like, I can say that like teacup, like spilling your teacup is the literal worst fucking honor loss ever. And I'm just like, Did it want something about the fire extinguisher that was a patent for it, but the fire burned the office. Fucking legendary. Well, clearly they didn't keep records.
Control the capital, which right now is puppets, with no one controlling them.
Right.
This clan is ready to make a run for it.
Okay.
But first, they have to trample this smaller clan, which is in the way. Surprise,
Wait.
the smaller clan wins, and the leader of that clan
Yep, there he is!
invading the capital and invades
I
the
saw
capital,
Oda.
and it goes very well. He's about halfway through conquering Japan when someone who works for him kills him, and then someone else who works for him kills them.
Yeah.
And that guy finishes conquering Japan. And then he confiscated everybody's swords and made some rules. And now I'm going to invade Korea and then hopefully China,
Oh
he
my
said,
God.
and failed, and also died. But before he died,
Legend.
he told these 5 guys to take care of his 5-year-old son until he's old enough to be the next ruler of Japan. And the 5 guys said, yeah, right, it's not going to be this kid, it's going to be one of us, because we're grown-ups.
Uh-huh.
And it's probably going to be this guy, who happens to be way more rich and powerful than
There
me.
he is.
A lot of people support him, but a lot
I think Musashi's around in this time period, from my understanding. I thought he was 1600s by Western calendars. I thought he was.
of people support not supporting him. They have a fight, and he wins, and starts a new government right here. And he still lets the emperor dress like an emperor, and have very nice things.
Yeah.
But don't get confused. This is the new government.
Yeah.
And they are very strict.
Yeah.
So strict they close the country. No one can leave, and no
Yeah.
one can come in. Except for the Dutch, if they want to buy and sell shit.
The fucking Dutch! Oh my god. They're back!
But they have to do it right here. Now that the entire country was not at war with itself, the
Do not compare that to... No, false equivalence.
population increased a lot. Business increased, schools were built, roads were built, everyone learned to read,
Yeah.
books were published, there was poetry, plays, sexy times, puppet shows.
Yeah, there was! Project Melody goes over that in her video.
And Dutch studies. People started to study European science from books they bought from the Dutch. We're talking geography, skeletons, physics, chemistry, astronomy,
It would be the
maybe even
Dutch.
electricity. Over time, the
It would be the fucking Dutch. The Dutch still trade out of those countries. Like, don't get me wrong, it feels like I'm shitting on the Dutch. Like, like as I said, my Kip is literally Dutch for chicken. Kaiju chicken. I'm literally combining 2 languages. Like, I have respect for the Dutch. I've spoken with people that do speak Dutch. They tell me not to learn Dutch because it's a silly language. I don't have anything against them, is what I'm trying to say. I think they're legit. Just anytime they show up, I'm just kind of like, the Dutch. Why?
the economic and cultural prosperity began to gradually slow down.
Oh.
Knock, knock. It's the United States. With huge boats, with guns,
Yeah, it is.
gunboats. Open the country. Stop having it be closed, said the United States. There was really nothing they could do, so they signed a contract that lets
Shrug.
the United States, Britain, and Russia visit Japan anytime they want. Choshu and Satsuma hated this. That sucks, they said.
Yeah.
This sucks. And with almost very
Merc.
little outside help, they overthrew the shogunate and somehow made the emperor again and moved
I've
him to
actually
Edo, which
already
they
watched
renamed
it. It's in
Eastern
Jew.
Capital. They made a new government, which was a lot more Western. They made a new constitution that was pretty Western. A military that was pretty Western. And do you know what else is Western? That's right, it's conquering stuff.
Oh, no.
So what can we conquer? Korea. They conquer
Yeah.
Korea, taking it from its previous owner, China, and then go a little bit further.
Yep.
And Russia rushes in out of nowhere and says, "Stop, no, you can't take that. We were going to build a railroad through here to try to get some warm water."
Yeah.
And Russia builds their railroad, supervised by a shit ton of soldiers. And then when the railroad was done, they downgraded to a fuck ton. Did I say downgrade? I meant upgrade. And Japan says, "Can you maybe chill?" And Russia says, "How about maybe you chill?"
You chill.
Japan is kind of
Bro.
scared of Russia. You'll never guess who's also kind of scared of Russia.
So sure, they might have been scared. They fended off the Russians. What was it, 100 to fucking 1 in a battle? They fucking won. Japan won that.
So Japan and Great Britain make an alliance together so they can be a little less scared of Russia. Feeling confident, Japan goes to war against Russia, just for a moment. And then
Right.
they both get tired and stop.
Yeah.
It's time for World War I.
Oh.
The world is about to have a war, because it's the 1900s and weapons are getting crazy, and all these empires are excited to try them out on each other. Meanwhile, Japan...
Every time I hear World War One, like, I wasn't in World War One, obviously, and I've seen documentaries. Like, I flash back to all the horrible fucking shit that World War One was. Once again, not that I physically could have been in World War One, just World War One was fucked. World War One was fucked. They said there's no longer a second. The fucking English. It's always the English.
has been enjoying conquering stuff and wants more. And the next thing on their list is this part of China and lots of tiny islands. All that stuff belongs to Germany, which just had war declared on it by Britain because Britain was friends with Belgium, which was being trespassed by Germany in order to get to France to kick France's ass because France is friends with Russia, who was getting ready to kick Austria.
So this is important to note as well. As the American school system, as I found myself in this in the fallacy of understanding it, is that the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand was what sparked World War I. Technically true. However, it was specifically due to the Triple Entente, which was this, and the spider web of alliances, and who's got who's back, and all these superpowers trying to flex on each other, right? That was all politics in the background. Archduke Franz Ferdinand was just the spark to light that entire fucking pyre on fire, so to speak, if that makes sense. Fucking units. I can't imagine being a fucking medic in World War One. I have nothing but the utmost respect.
Austria's ass because Austria was getting ready to kick Serbia's ass because someone from Serbia shot the leader of Austria's ass. Or actually shot him in the head. And Britain is currently friends with Japan. So you know what that means. Duh, Japan should take the islands.
Which is super fucking ironic, actually, that Japan and Nazi regime Germany in World War II had such similar ideologies. That's really fucking fascinating, actually. I need to go on a fucking rabbit hole about this with other people that I occasionally have drinks with on history. I really love knowing history teachers. It is really fucking neat to just go... I can't go out and be like, hey, how was your day? How was the sports game? No, it's, so... Let's talk about treaties. Let's talk about society. Like, let's do this. I want to have this conversation. Like, legitimately, I cannot have a normal fucking conversation to save my life, and it's kind of amazing. You know, the whole fucking continent, the whole hemisphere was a whole fucking powder keg waiting to happen. But the reason why I find it so fascinating is that because Britain and Japan had the alliance, but then Austria-Hungary, which became Germany, right? Like, it's super fascinating that they be on opposing sides, and then it's super fascinating. Geneva suggestions. What does the fat electrician say? It's what was it? It's not a war crime the first time. It's logical to set problem is power gap between right. Yeah, absolutely. Austria sent in impassable estimates. Serbia and Russia only joined because they thought Austria would conquer Serbia. The fact that they said they wouldn't told no one. Right. No, and like. It was a whole shitstorm waiting to happen is really what it is. Like, you guys are correct.
Which they wanted to do anyway, so they called Britain on the telly to sort of let them know.
Yeah.
And then they did it. And they also helped Britain a little here and there with some errands and stuff.
Oh my god, and that's the start of the Pacific Theater, as it would be in World War II, because they did claim all those islands. That's the one.
Now the war is over, and congratulations, Japan. You technically fought in the war, which means you get to sit at the negotiating table with the big dudes, where they decided who owns what.
Fuck. And this made so many fucking problems. This really fucking did. Like... And I had to have a conversation about this recently. Like, the expectations saddled on Germany was way too fucking severe, and it created conditions where Adolf Hitler could rise to power. It's not that the whole country itself was this evil entity. It's not. I mean, history can literally tell you otherwise. It's that desperation will drive people to do things, right? Like, we see the TikToks, we see the fucking PSAs about what is the Apple Pods being put on people's cars and the zip ties for human trafficking and stuff. Yeah, people don't have money. People are defaulting on loans. People are going to lose their livelihoods. People are losing their livelihoods and becoming homeless. People can't feed their families. Desperation over and over throughout history has done things to people. It always has. So you put Germany in a post-war situation, because war is profitable, for better or worse. War is the mother of invention, as Lloyd from Code Geass says. And I'm pretty sure there's another quote from an actual real person that said that. The debt burden was just... the money was literally better being burnt as fuel for fucking fire. Like, right, the Treaty of Versailles was 100% a cause into that. It's not that Germany at that time, and it's important to make this distinction, right? It's important to understand, like, right now, there are good people in Russia. During the beginning, when there was still a lot of internet access, there were content creators, small, big, and one of them was just so upset that this decision against Ukraine was made, and I'm trying to obviously, lessen things because algorithm and Twitch and stuff like that, right? And it's important to understand that it was a few people, and the people did see the Nazi Party originally as a way out, as a this is how we fix this. This is how we can bring Germany back. Thus leading into the Third Reich, and thus leading into a tragic law. And it wasn't just the Jewish people. It wasn't. There was an entire concentration camp theater in Africa, if you remember. The entire death toll was easily 12 million plus. And I look into things like Cambodia S-21. I look into things like the Holodomor. I look into things like Kolyma. Because we can prevent this again. We can help each other grow. We can help each other evolve. And if there's anything I can do as a content creator to have these discussions, and I know they're not popular, to help those that don't quite understand the signs to stop things from happening, if we can save a lot of lives. And I know I'm small on the internet. I know I can only do so much. It really is a driving force for what I do. I don't want to comment on governments. I think it's into a little territory that I'm not willing to get into, because I'm trying to be good. Really, Baldermaker videos are good for learning about Russia. Please send those to me. Actually, we are doomed to repeat history if we don't learn from it. You are correct. Last semester when talking about those wars made sense when I realized most of the 9 years younger than these stuff's cool. Right, and I think part of what made this work for me is because from a very developmental age, middle school, U.S. middle school, right, I was watching Code Geass. Which, I mean, you can argue, yeah, there's a quote out there that's like, hey, make Gundam but with Char as the main character, right? Yeah, no, absolutely. That's a quote that's out there, apparently. I've been needing someone to cite it to me because I want to do a video on that. And the importance of origination versus intent as soon as... Is that right? I think it'd be a great piece. But, like, from a young age, I was intaking war, intaking why racism is bad, intaking... Because calling the Japanese 11, it's racism, right? It's like if I call a German a kraut, right? Which I'm not going to. I don't want to call someone a fucking slur. That's what that was. They're Japanese. And I think that's why I was able to comprehend some of this stuff a little bit better. And I'm by no means perfect. I'm really fucking not. And we can learn and help each other so much. I've already segued a lot on this one. But it kind of helps understand where I'm coming from in content creation. And at the end of the day, sure, I might get upset at people. Sure, I might get angry. I have a fucking Rooster Teeth video on my fucking main channel that I keep up there to show, yeah, I do get upset at things. I do get upset at bigotry at times. My core underlying desire is to help. To want to help improve. To want to communicate. Right, you don't judge a book by it. It just never fucking ends well.
And yes, Japan gets to keep all that shit they stole from Germany.
Yeah.
You also get to join the post-war mega alliance, the League of Nations, whose mission statement is...
One person from known is Joaquin Marcel. He protested in front of the mustache model and survived. For the interesting. Very interesting. Passion for history is the learning. It's easier. Right. No, it's... I love history way too fucking much, is what I'm going to say.
To try not to take over the world.
Yeah.
The Great Depression is bad, and Japan's economy is now crappy, but the military is doing just fine, and it invades Manchuria. And the League of Nations is like, no, don't do that if you're in the League of Nations.
Like, what stresses me out, right, and this has factually been happening, right, is that, I'm not going to use the hard R word, but we know what I'm talking about, right, the R of Nanking. People vehemently deny that this existed. Like, it just blows my mind. It really fucking does. Like, we learn from we've seen all throughout history shit like this has happened. We have the ability to change it, is what I'm trying to get at. And then we're going to get into, it wasn't S-21, it was whatever Shiro Ishii's test unit camp was, which was literally so many war crimes, but he was exonerated because he provided his research. I heavily disagree with that, but I also wasn't in that position to make that demand. And from my understanding, medical advancements made from his research, his horrible, inhumane research, did benefit lives. And I'm not the one that can pass judgment on that. I don't have that. I've seen the David Pickett so discussed. No, I have not.
You're not supposed to take over the world. And Japan said, how about I do anyway?
Right.
And Japan invaded more and more of China, and was planning to invade the entire East.
You've got mail.
He's from Germany, the new leader of Germany. He has a cool mustache, and he's trying to take over the world and needs friends. This also got forwarded to Italy. They all decided to be friends because they had so much in common. It's time for...
Didn't Mussolini get hung up by meat hooks? Like Italy was just that fucking done with him?
World War II. Germany is
Yeah.
invading the neighbors. Then they invade the neighbors' neighbors. Then the neighbors' neighbors' neighbors, who happened to be Britain, said, holy shit. And the United States started helping Britain because they are good friends, and started not helping Japan because they're friends and our friends are not.
I'm a fan of the understanding that, like, Star Trek TNG had this. Not that I'm a huge Trekkie. Like, I've watched some of it. And I like what it brings to the table. It's not like a space opera like Star Wars. It has its own identity and does a lot of things that I do like. That there was a period where humanity just had to say, look, we've all done shitty things. Let's work to become better. And that's not me exonerating anyone. That's not me saying, you know, oh, what World War II Germany did was right. That's not me saying what certain policies, like, you know, that Stalin caused with the Holodomor. I'm not okaying that. I'm not okaying the fucking Rwandan genocide by any means. This got a lot heavier than I thought it was going to be. I'm trying to choose my words very carefully as well. There comes a point in Star Trek where people want to progress, and they're willing to set aside differences and hatred in order to make that progress possible. How we get there, that's for us to decide. That's for us to get to that point. Until then, I'm going to do what I can to help other people. The message for reason. Japanese soldier with a potato-sized human. President. So I do see that slippery German. I can't show that for obvious reasons. No, there's a lot of fucked images from war that's just not worth getting into. I do enjoy history. I don't enjoy history a lot of time, if that makes sense.
Friends, plus they're planning on invading the entire ocean.
Yeah.
The United States is also working on a large, very huge bomb, bigger than any other bomb, ever, just in case. But they still haven't joined the war. War looks bad on TV, and the United States is really starting to care about their image.
Right.
But then Japan spits on them in Hawaii and challenges them to war. And they say yes. And then Germany, as a symbol of friendship, declares war on the United States also. So the United States goes to war in Europe, and they help the gang chase Germany back into Germany. And they also start chasing Japan back into Japan. And they haven't used the bomb yet, and are curious to see if it works. So they drop it on Japan.
That was a very...
They actually dropped 2.
Did you know that there was a third? Look up the Demon Core. It actually did take someone's life because of an experiment. Very interesting piece of history, actually, and this is a fucked time frame, is what I will say. World War I and World War II was incredibly horrible. That's where I'll leave that. Yep, that's about how that felt. And then Stalin was like, I want that. And built the Tsar Bomba. Yeah.
The United States installed a new government, inspired by the United States government, with just the right ingredients for a post-war economic miracle. And Japan starts making TVs, VCRs, automobiles, and camcorders as fast as they can.
Yeah,
and
they
also
can.
better than everybody else. They get rich, and the economy goes wild. And then the miracle wears off. But everything's still pretty cool, I guess. Bye.
Is he gonna touch on it, though? He's not gonna touch on it. Oh my god, he's not gonna touch on it. Okay, to be fair, maybe it wasn't probably the easiest thing to touch on. So, in the terms of economics, there are 4 kinds of economies. There's developed, underdeveloped. I think it's a South American country. I don't think it wasn't Brazil. It was a South American country. I don't remember. I have to remember the work of it was in, but this is actually relevant. It was underdeveloped, overdeveloped, that South American country that a lot of people like to cite in terms of economics. I can't remember what it is. I apologize. And then Japan. Japan is one of the 4 types of economies because of how it worked. And that is super fucking fascinating. So yeah, there was a post-war era boom, right? And then it kind of like leveled out and stopped, as you said. Like, there's so much more that goes into that, though, because Japan doesn't have the natural resources to do a lot of things, right? You know, like, tiny island in comparison. But man, the things that they can do, they fucking went for gold. Never saw a comment. Help post-war. Right? No, I would assume so. Yeah, no, war is hell. Like, I will never not say that. But yeah, no, this is a really awesome video. I really fucking love Bill Wurtz and their fucking work. I know this kind of went off the rails a little bit, and I do apologize about that. But yeah, no, that was awesome. Thank you, everyone, for coming out. If you're on the React channel, thank you for coming out. Can't wait to see you in my next video. If you are on the React channel, I'm going to go run an ad really quick, and I'm going to go, I got a couple short ones that I kind of want to follow up with. Be right back.